Namaskar and welcome to NFL Masala. I'm your co-host Sanat.
And I'm your other co-host, Ruckchuck. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 15, baby, of NFL Masala, where we talk about all the latest happenings in the NFL with a little bit of spice. How we doing today, my man?
Suffering from allergies because the pollen count here is very high for the past couple of days.
Yeah.
So even though I changed the air filters, it sucks. So yeah. How are you doing?
I am doing pretty good. Whoops. Oh yeah, I just turned on. Very interesting weekend for me. And I actually want to give a shout out to my brother Sudarshan Iyengar. His birthday was on September 22nd. So happy birthday again, man.
Happy birthday.
He turned 28. Love this.
Oh wow. He
love
does
him.
not look 28.
Dude, I know, but man, I love him so much. This is why NFL Masala is a family-friendly show.
Yes.
And
even though he's a Cowboys fan.
even though. And then other than that, I actually have some news for you, Anand.
All right.
October 30th to November 3rd, I'm going to be in Dallas, Texas.
Let's go.
And also, bit of a surprise, November 22nd to November 30th, I'll also be in Dallas for the Thanksgiving break.
Okay, so we're going to do a Thanksgiving episode then.
We might have to.
All righty. We'll plan that out. You guys will see that hopefully where we're all in one camera. You know, we don't have to do a split view.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have that.
And it's rating in Albany. That's one thing for sure. And it's concert season. I mean, I don't want to derail the topic here, but apparently last night, so like a little funny story, as I'm trying to go for basketball yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could not get out of my garage for a good 30, 40 minutes because apparently there was a Jelly Roll concert next door. The artist Jelly Roll, like the country singer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't.
He's really famous. He's the one that sang with Eminem. Somebody save me, me from myself. He's really good though. He has a good voice.
Gotcha.
But then again, I rarely listen to country music, so except for one song, "Take Me to Texas." Okay, this is an NFL show, not a music show.
Exactly. Even though we do sing on NFL Masala, we don't sing about singing.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty. Now let's move on to actual NFL content. On this episode, we will be recapping what happened in week 3 and previewing week 4. And boy, was week 3 chaotic. A lot of teams that we thought were good in week 2 just laid an egg.
They sucked.
Looking at you Titans, looking at you Texans, not Titans, Texans.
Okay, we'll get to that. It's not my fault.
We'll get to that. But looking at you Texans, you had one job against the Vikings. Win. What did you do? I won't spoil it. Now, let's move on to some news, some Dhamakadar news. First bit of Dhamakadar news is the fact that Kareem Hunt is back with the Chiefs. He is back since 2018, which was the last time that he was a member of the Chiefs in their practice facility, and he is now back on their practice squad. And now he has been activated to their active roster, and he will play potentially against the Chargers in LA this upcoming Sunday. So yeah, it's interesting. Because of Isaiah Pacheco, this is what's happening. They have to rely on Carson Steele and now Kareem Hunt until both Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire come back. So I feel like it's just a temporary stopgap measure. Once those two come back, I think these guys are going on the practice squad, or they're just going to be let go from the team itself.
Makes sense.
So yeah. Alrighty, what's next?
All right. Next bit of news is for for those that saw the Sunday night games between, I think, the Chargers and the Steelers, you'll get to that game. There was an unfortunate incident that happened, or technically this could be classified as a cut-around moment. Derwin James laid a hit, and I'm guessing that would be considered targeting.
It would be.
And
In
it would be
college,
target
at least it would be called targeting
in
because
college.
he was leading with the crown of the helmet of his helmet.
Basically, like
Yeah.
those that are watching,
This part.
you're you're
Right,
leading with
so-
like your forehead, like right
Exactly.
there.
And he targeted the head of the opponent. So that's why. Go ahead.
And with that, the NFL has decided to suspend Derwin James for Sunday's game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And of course, with and which brings up to this news. I think this is the best follow-up with this one because Jim Harbaugh, LA Chargers head coach, said that he was disappointed and disagreed with the NFL's decision to suspend him for that game. And he said that Freiermuth's positioning, he says that Freiermuth's positioning called James's illegal hit. And I quote, there was not a defenseless player. He changed his course. And I thought that Derwin's helmet was stiff-armed by Mr. Freiermuth, he said.
Mhm.
I thought the stiff arm caused his head to make the contact. And I thought the contact was first with the forearm, then the shoulder, then the head. And Harbaugh said that James's tackle appeared to be precisely what the league is looking for in terms of taking your head out of the game.
Mm.
And it's unfortunate with Derwin James because he's had 7 unnecessary roughness penalties since entering the league in 2018, the second most in that span. And he's made a concerted effort to avoid these penalties, often allowing extra yards in the games because he braces before he hits to avoid the flag.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and apparently in the NFL's announcement, Vice President Football Operations and accordingly, Eagles legend in John Runyon, he wrote substantial penalty. He said that he said this, and I quote, "Your continued disregard for NFL playing rules will not be tolerated. Substantial penalties are warranted when the players violate the rules intended to protect player safety on a repeated basis, particularly when the violations carry with them a significant risk of injury to the opposing player." And he did appeal, and Derwin James appealed the decision, but it was upheld by Derek Brooks. And those that are remembering those names, me being an ancient oldie, because I remember Derek Brooks, he was a linebacker for the Buccaneers when they won that Super Bowl with Warren Sapp and Brad John. God, I feel so old on it was upheld by a hearing officer, Derek Brooks, who is jointly appointed by the NFL and the NFL's Player Association. So they're going to be entering the Chargers' backup safeties, Elijah Molden and AJ Finley. So,
wow.
But
hypocritical. It's so hypocritical because it's not like these players who run these player associations haven't done anything in their career that is even remotely close, because they have. They have. Mr. John Runyon, there have been so many clips of you just out there murdering defensive players after the play has ended.
Oh yeah.
And you never got penalized for that? Bro, come on now. And this is the worst part. And I'm going to go put on my tinfoil hat instead of my cheesehead hat, because I am going to go on a conspiracy rant. And that conspiracy is that Taylor Swift phoned in the called the commissioner, Roger Goodell, saying that, hey, you know what? We're facing the Chargers this week. And my hubby, Travis Kelce, was humiliated by that Chargers player, Derwin James, last year when he was picked up and slammed into the ground. If you want your money, make that not happen again. That's what I think she said to Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell then called the Players Association. They're like, oh, you need to get this man out or you're fired. That's what's happened.
Because otherwise, you know
that
why?
Is the truth.
Because if that doesn't happen, now we got bad blood.
There you go.
I had to do that.
Taylor Swift has ruined NFL.
I think you should screenshot that face. I'm like, no, take your picture right now.
I think that's just lost 90% of our entire fan base.
I mean, we tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter. That's a Linkin Park reference.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what do we got next?
All right. So next up, this is kind of bad or good news depending on your particular moral quandaries. Brett Favre has told Congress that he has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
Oh, damn.
And that he might even have CTE. And this might be because of CTE, where he's been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Now, this comes up at a trial, or not a trial, but at a hearing when he's testifying to Congress about his relationship with the funds that were, quote unquote, misplaced from the Mississippi Temporary Assistance for Needy Family. And those funds, roughly totaling about $8 million, is what he's allegedly having. Oh my God. He has been alleged to have illegally siphoned $8 million to build a new volleyball arena for the University of Southern Mississippi, where his daughter plays, fund a concussion drug company, and line his own pockets. So those are the allegations, right? So that we've already covered this last year, I believe. And now at this hearing, this is when he says, oh, I have Parkinson's disease. Maybe it's trying to curry favor with the congressman. But this is what he said, quote, sadly, I also lost an investment in a company that I believed was developing a breakthrough concussion drug I thought would help others. I'm sure you'll understand. While it's too late for me because I've recently been diagnosed with Parkinson's, this is also a cause dear to my heart.
Interesting. I don't know what to feel, but that's all I could say.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because we all want players to be safe. And we know that the result of playing football for a long period of time, especially for older veterans in those old days, is repeated brain trauma leads to not good outcomes for your life and for other people's lives. But at the same time, Brett Favre illegally, stole money from poor people in Mississippi to fund his own lifestyles. Again, it's up to your moral quandaries, what you think is going to, what you feel about this story. But yeah, let's move on.
Yep. And with that being said, we come up with our final bit of Damakidar news. This is regarding with Commanders running back Austin Eckler, Washington Commanders, by the way. Austin Eckler, he unfortunately he will, according to his coach Dan Quinn and John Keim of ESPN, Austin Eckler will not be playing at Arizona against the Cardinals on Sunday because of a concussion. This is what Coach Dan Quinn said. He suffered that concussion in the third quarter of Monday's win, which we will go through with the punch minutes over the Cincinnati Bungles.
The Bungles.
We'll get to those pussycats soon. They will be flying to Arizona next morning, but Eckler is going to return to Virginia. So, and also defensive end Cleveland Farrell is going to be out. So, with that being said, I mean, concussion protocol, just follow it. Be safe. Player safety is where it's at. So, I got nothing to say on that. I think it's the right move. And besides, Brian Robinson Jr. has already taken your load. So, hey, You can milk all that money you want, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't make sure you don't. Just make sure your best performance doesn't come against Philly. That's all I ask for.
That's exactly what I said to Aaron Jones. But we'll talk about that now in a week 4 preview. Now, before we go to that, let's recap what happened in week 3.
All I can say is this.
Yeah.
You know why we're smiling? Because both of our teams won.
Yes, sir.
Spoiler alert.
Yes, sir.
And we have
it's the way we won.
2 other teams that also lost too much of our We'll get to those.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
All right. First off.
All right. Hit me up.
Packers.
What you got?
Packers. We faced the Titans. We didn't just face the Titans. We ran over them. We
You did what?
Massacred them.
Oh. Wait. I got a message apparently. It's a bolo for Will Levis. He's missing in action. What happened?
He has been. You know what happened? I will tell you.
There's a bounty on him. Apparently, it's your Packers defense. What did you do to him?
You know what we did to him? You know what we did to him?
What?
We ripped him apart limb from limb. 8 sacks, 2 interceptions, one of them being a pick 6 from Jaw Money. 1 forced fumble and recovery. We had NASCAR packages, aka all the edge rushers and blitzers, just completely annihilating that wasteful, useless excuse of an offensive line that the Tennessee Titans have. We massacred them. It was a Roman ethnic cleansing of the Titans.
Oh my God. What? What did you just say?
You know what I said.
What? Repeat that again. Roman ethnic. What
It
the
was a
hell?
beautiful Roman ethnic cleansing.
Oh, oh my God.
I will show you one play. It was the NASCAR package that I was talking to you about. Let me where's share my screen? Okay, there we go. All right. So you can see this right here. So you got Rashawn Gary on the left side of the edge, or sorry, the right side of the offensive line. And then you got Preston Smith on the other side. You got Quay Walker being lined up in a 4-point stance. Not 4-point stance, sorry. A 2-point stance right here, looking to blitz. You got Edrin Cooper a little bit back in the Mike linebacker position, looking to blitz as well. You got Kingsley Enagbare, hands in the dirt, 3-point stance, waiting to massacre Lloyd Cushenberry. Woo! And then you got the guy, Devontae Wyatt on the other side. Or sorry, Lucas Van Ness on that side.
No, it's going to be like this. When you're going to say Lucas Van Ness, like how I say for Dajan Taylor Demerson, like your
LVN.
Like RVN. Like RVD.
Was spectacular this game, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Just watch this play unfold.
Yep. Okay, so we have Rec. Oh.
If you can see, for all our video for all of the people who are watching, just look at Kingsley Enagbare completely turning Lloyd Cushenberry into a turnstile. He just said no. All right. He treated Lloyd Cushenberry like a guy who treats the NYC Metro turnstile. Just hops over, jumps it over, moves on. All right. Just hops over, jumps over, and just goes on a beeline to Will Levis. Enagbare is there first. Preston Smith evades his tackle, his assignment, gets to Will Levis, and Rashawn Gary comes up and finishes off the blitz. That is a NASCAR package. There was another play called this. This was the one that forced the fumble and we recovered. So
This
this,
is
as
the
you
most
can see,
aggressive. Your bleep is not stopping me, Rushes. I've seen from the Packers edge.
so this is one of the most aggressive pass rushing snaps that I have seen.
Wait, please enlarge in the screen so I could so Bryce Huff can learn this.
Wait. Weird things are happening. Hold on.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So you can see here
Mm-hmm.
that it's a 4-man rush. You're going man coverage from the other side. Right? And then Kingsley Enigbare, man, he was just disastrous. He was just completely. I have run out of adjectives to describe
Let me help you
ferocity
out with
with
this.
which Kingsley Enigbare played. Just look at the right tackle, Nicholas Petit-Frere. It got so bad for Nicholas Petit-Frere, they literally subbed him out for the rookie the next play.
JC Latham?
Yes. I think he's on the left side. It might be like another 7th-round player or something like that. Look,
oh my God.
he just completely one move and the offensive tackle
Wait.
back
He
into his
broke-
pass setting.
Whoa. Go back. Pause. I'm so to whoever that guy is, you have been sentenced to the shadow realm. He just sidestepped the guy like he was what, Steph Curry? What
Yes.
the hell?
Sidestep for the 3, and the offensive tackle goes into like a 3-point stance. His pass set. He is ready for the next pass rep. That's how bad.
He just took
That's
his
how
soul, man.
badly Enigbare just manhandled the right tackle. And then you can see he puts a clothesline on Will Levis.
Clothesline
Just
from hell like
completely
JBL.
Clothesline tackle, grabs him around the neck, pulls Will Levis down. Will Levis loses the ball. And then the best part, LVN gives him
Just cross him up.
a tea bag right there.
Bruh.
He just jumps on his head, gives him a tea bag, and recovers the forced fumble.
Bruh.
That is exactly what we have been waiting for as Packers fans, for our defense to do something like that. Just completely destroy the opposing team, the opposing
Beautiful.
offensive line.
That was beautiful to see, man. I mean, but like, I'm just in shock. The guy literally just went full. Dude, that was Kingsley Enigbare, right?
Yes.
Dude, he should quit football, go into basketball. Honestly, put him as a center. Like,
he is a magician. He just completely, and we are so excited for him, man, because he's a 5th-round pick.
Yeah,
he's a 5th-round pick from last year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And as a rookie, he showed promise. And once he tore his ACL, that was very sad for us because we thought that he was going to take a big step last year. But man, he's just recovered from his ACL and he is on fire. And I'm just so happy because this defense is spectacular.
You know what? When I saw the Jair Alexander interception, which I thought, I don't know what kind of ball Will Levis was trying to throw to. He was trying to target DeAndre Hopkins, but when I saw the play, I'm like, I just felt dumb watching it, to be honest. And when Jair throws it, instead of like, you know the song by Lil Wayne, a milli, instead of like, you know how he yells, Young Money, it's like, Job Money, a milli, That's what I'm thinking. Like every time when I see Jair Alexander, I'm like, I don't know why I get that song, but honestly, you should like start playing it every time.
Yes, yes. And yeah, it was just spectacular to watch Kingsley
Beautiful.
Aguilar. He finished off with 1.5 sacks, 2 pressures, and 4 combined tackles. But it just like it understates just how much of an impact he had. Same thing with Devontae Wyatt. 2 sacks, 1 quarterback knockdown, 3 pressures, 4 combined tackles. Preston Smith, 2 sacks, 2 pressures, 3 combined tackles. Lucas Van Ness with a sack. Edrin Cooper with half a sack. Isaiah McDuffie with half a sack. So, and Quay Walker with half a sack. Literally all of our linebackers, all of our D-line is just getting into the fray. And yeah, Rashawn Gary had 2 sacks, but it was both called off because of penalties from Preston Smith. Okay, Kenny Clark has not been that successful in the assassination of the Titans, but I'm not worrying because the entire line was performing. Okay. And this wasn't just passing. This was also running on the ground. 11 rush attempts, 33 yards. No points allowed in the final quarter. That's it. I've been waiting for the Packers to have a rush defense that basically says, no, you are not going to go through us. We will go through you. That is the defensive motto.
It was like
waiting for that.
It was like Gandalf saying, "You shall not pass."
Exactly. That's why the Titans ended up with 14 points, even though they had a touchdown drive. Well, they had 2 touchdown drives, but that's fine. We had 8 sacks and 2 picks and a forced fumble. So we won 30-14. Now,
Beautiful.
that was the defensive side.
Oh,
and boy, do I have
not done yet. You're not done yet, aren't you?
I ain't done yet. The offense was just as brilliant, if not better. And man, Malik Willis, if you're a Titans fan, you have to be sick to your stomach. You knew that you had Malik Willis. All he needed was a good situation, a good coach, and a good offensive line scheme. And just an offensive scheme. And you couldn't provide that. You traded him away for a 7th-round pick, and now look what he's done. He was just Napoleon-like. 13 of 19, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 73 rushing yards, 6 attempts, 1 rushing touchdown. He came, he saw, he conquered, he took his revenge. And the best part of it, he didn't care about that. He didn't care about the revenge. Literally, he was asked, how do you feel when that you played like this against your old team? He was like, I'm just so grateful that these guys got me. They drafted me. They paid me. They fed me. I'm just grateful that I got that I've been blessed to play like that. Like that was his response. How can you not like this man? If there's anybody out there who does not like Malik Willis, I will personally take you back in time, send you to Hitler. We don't need you.
What? Oh my God. This is, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have reached dark side on the moment that we've been waiting for. He's been hiding his goody 2 shoes, and then the beast has finally emerged.
Thanks, Packers. Thanks, Jeff Affley.
Oh my God.
This is going to be me all season long. As long as the Packers defense plays well. That's going to be me. And the offense, dude. I've never seen a receiving unit this unselfish. Everybody was, even Christian Watson was blocking like he was a brick wall. All right. Tucker Kraft and Christian Watson, fantastic blocks. And I had said this. Me and Garv had said this. Tucker Kraft, watch out. In the next couple of years, he's quickly going to become George Kittle. He is already on that path. He is as athletic as Kittle. He can block. He just needs to increase his savviness in route running and a little bit more in terms of pass catching because he still has some drops, but he is on that path. Now, I had hoped that Luke Musgrave could become Travis Kelce, but that has not looked like the scenario. Tucker Kraft has repeatedly gotten at least 1.5 to 2 times the amount of snaps that Luke Musgrave has had. Now, yes, Musgrave is recovering from an injury, but still, it's kind of worrisome to see if you're a Musgrave fan.
Yeah.
That you're not really getting these type of opportunities. So he might end up becoming like a Mike Gesicki or not Jimmy Graham, but maybe Mike Gesicki, like a receiving tight end. But he's still a decent blocker, not as good as Tucker Kraft. But Tucker Kraft, man, he's
taking over.
He is taking over that tight end position for the Packers. And everybody was blocking and participating in the run game. And the run game, 37 attempts, 188 yards, 1 touchdown, 73 rushing yards from the quarterback. And this was the same Titans defense that I had crowned as a top 5 defense. I was wrong. It is not. When the Packers can humiliate you like this, it begs to differ. The fact that this run defense is actually that great. Because you know what? The Packers offensive line has now faced Jeffrey Simmons, DeForest Buckner, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Tavondre Sweat. And we have ran for a combined 612 yards in 3 games. We are leading the league in terms of rushing yards per game. Do you know the offensive stats that we are leading the game in?
Oh, no.
Yards per, not leading, but rushing yards per game at 204 yards per game. Offensive plays of 20 plus yards. So explosive plays, 17 offensive plays, number 1. Explosive run plays, 7 at number 1 again. So these are all what we're leading in. Explosive runs of 10 plus yards, 19 runs of 10 plus yards. Number 1. We're number 2 in rushing yards per play at 5.51 rushing yards per play. Yards per play, 6.39. Number 2. It's just been domination by this Packers offensive line, at least in the run game. In the pass game, there have been some things to worry about, but they've been largely really good. And as much as I would like to give some praise, there are still very, very concerning drawbacks to our games. The main thing that we have to work on, and this has been an issue with Matt LaFleur and his teams that he's coached since he's joined the Packers. Penalties.
Oh boy.
Penalties. 5th most in
you
penalties.
Said the P word. You said the P word. You're in trouble. I'm joking.
Not 26 penalties. Dude.
Flag.
Who's throwing the flag? You?
No,
Are you joining the ref association?
Oh no, dude. No,
Are you joining that secret society?
Oh, I'm not.
I don't think anybody would want to, unless they have a power complex. Anyways, that's another rant for another time. But going back on penalties, 5th most penalties against us, 26, most of which are pre-snap. That's the most worrying part. That means it's not a matter of players, it's a matter of coaching and execution. Offensive holding most in the league at 9 offensive holding penalties in 3 games. 5th in terms of delay of game. Second in terms of delay of game. 2nd in illegal shift. 11 penalties on the offensive line so far. 15 out of 26 were offensive penalties, which is 57% of our penalties. That has got to change if we want to make a deep run in the playoffs, because as we saw, look at the Chiefs. They are not penalized that much, and they keep winning because they play sound football. Even though we are playing explosive football, if we don't play sound football, we will make mistakes. It will cost us in the playoffs. And that's something that has to change. Other than that, right now, I am on top of the world. I mean, this is the best performance from our defense that I've ever seen. This is, well, in the past 5 years, I'll say that. And this is the most efficient that I've seen a backup quarterback play. I mean, it's just he plays like a starter, and he is now secured a 10-year team, 10-year, backup quarterback contract. He should, because he has earned that now. So I have one thing for you, Dakshak, and I'll finish off with this.
What's up?
We are the quarterback whisperers. All right. We are. Ain't nobody even close to us in terms of quarterback whispers. You said that. You said that the Eagles were. So I am.
I didn't even say quarterback whispers. I mentioned this stupid thing called the QB factory. It was a joke.
Exactly. You are wrong. We are the
take
QB
it.
factory.
Please take it. I don't want it.
All right. We are the quarterback factory with Tom Clements and Matt LaFleur. We have made Malik Willis, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. You might as well please take it. I don't want it. I hate it. I hate this QB factory thing.
Good.
So Eagles versus Saints. I expected I came in with very, very low expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I said the score was going to be 35-20 Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had a great offense and the Eagles defense was non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick Sirianni, I will get to his ass later. But I have to say this. Who that Saints? We that Merced kicked their ass. Who that? We that Eagles kicked their ass or something like that. But I was very shocked by this game. Eagles win.
I thought the Saints were going
15-12. 15-12 Eagles win. And before I get on to my notes, I have to give a special shout out to the boys, the guys from 4th and John. Apparently, and of course they were associated with like Philly sports trips. There was an Eagles takeover at the Superdome. It was almost nearly half of the stadium was green.
Dang, that's insane.
Man, hey, you know what? Eagles fans could travel. That's what we're known for. But except for that Packers game, and except for game 1, that's for a different story. But I think I was completely shocked. But with that, let's break. If I wanted to break it down, I mean, I'm thinking, Anand, do I go good, bad, or ugly? Or should I get the ugly out of the way?
It's up to you, bro. I would get the ugly out of the way and finish off with the good.
Speaking of which, I mean, Nick Sirianni. I want to and I think we're about to have a rant. I think it's time, Anand, for a Rakshak rant.
Yeah, Rakshak rant.
The day when and after hearing the press conference from Nick Sirianni post game, he's saying that sometimes here or there he will be taking over the play calling. I have to step in and talk about this because the way that he's been doing this thing, I literally want to develop a GoFundMe or a Change.org petition to send his ass to North Korea for play calling ineptitude.
Mm-hmm.
Or even worse, send him to a gulag in Siberia for this. I mean, I gotta tell. How do I go about this? I mean, let's talk about some of the plays. And I'm putting up the drive chart on ESPN so I can just process this. So let's start with the basic one that got everyone's head. And I was at Philly Bar and Lounge watching this game. with the Eagles fans in Latham, Latham, New York. So 4th and 1 at the New Orleans 15-yard line. What the hell are you doing? You're supposed to take the points. The score's still 0-3. Why in the blue hell are you running a fake tush push and swinging it to the left? Why? When your offense is driving the field. And on TV, there's an Eagles fan audibly screaming, "What the F? Why aren't you taking the points?"
Yep.
Anand, you could call a better play call on this one, man. This is not Madden.
Yeah.
I get that you want to be aggressive. I'll get to more on Nick Sirianni, but I want to get to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts. I have the screen from Shane Half of Bleeding Green Nation. Let me share this with you. 1 second. There it is. So with this one, I thought Jalen Hurts passing charts from that Eagles victory over the Saints, especially going a game without AJ Brown and later Devontae Smith. I still think the Saints are the dirtiest team ever since they're still sucking on Bounty Gate. Those and I'm about to about to change this to rated R. Those dirty ass illegal hitting motherfuckers. I am placing the Ruksha curse on the New Orleans Saints. Add the curse list. Keep on updating that. And I mean, Jalen Hurts, I thought he had a good and okay passing game, but there was a lot on shotgun formation. Why aren't you taking it from the gun? I did like that he was able to use motion.
Because he's not good in not shotgun. He's not good in under center. He doesn't like under center, right? He prefers a shotgun formation style offense.
Which I mean, it doesn't make sense. I thought he did pretty well. He used that a lot in Green Bay, and I thought he was pretty effective with it, like faking off, and allowing the play action to develop and targeting those receivers. I mean, 29 for 38, 311 yards and 1 interception. Again, the turnovers. I actually watched some tape, and luckily, I may have some. I actually want to bring in an evidence on this one. So I think this could it's not going to vindicate Jalen Hurts or something like that, but I think it's worth talking. So if you see me with my screen dedicated on this one, so I think this is the second drive of the game in which Jalen Hurts is he's driving it into the end zone. So let me here's the play. 1st and 10, 3rd and 9, second quarter. You are at the 11-yard line. Jalen Hurts. So you're going three receiver sets on the left. It looks like you're going almost like
you're going by 3-by-2.
3-by-2. And basically Goddard is somewhere over there. You're going where Johnny Wilson.
He's the wide tight end. He's in line.
Yeah. So as the play is developing, hikes. So apparently, as he's going on his route, Jalen Hurts makes his throw. Apparently, and yes, it's picked up by Honey Badger. I mean, it was an excellent play. However, when I was listening to Shane have some analysis of this one, it was actually a good throw by Jalen Hurts, because here's the thing: the route. If this was an in break, this is one of those in routes that Devontae Smith usually makes. No, I'm not. I'm actually not making an excuse. I read it through on this one, and although technically Dotson was supposed to be the first read, it's like Devontae, and I think Devontae Smith, as he's making that in route, there's a linebacker in that play. So if he had finished the route earlier, if there's AJ Brown, he makes that catch 9 out of 10 times. But because he was a little bit behind, and Jalen Hurts it's mostly of that quick hot route, he makes that throw. And if it was someone else, and Devontae Smith makes that grab, touchdown. But Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu made an excellent play on this one. So I would say but I want to say it's like, yes, Devontae Smith didn't go on the execution. I can confirm this with like wide receivers. Like me as a wide receiver, you got to finish your routes and you got to hit it early. That was a good throw by Hurts, but the execution at the end by Smith, you got to make that. And it's not on that. But the second one, the fumble, that was all on Hurts. As he's hiking the ball, you got to, I mean, honestly, you have to release it, throw it away. And that's a drive killer right there. But I will give credit for Hurts is that even with those too many turnovers, he was still able to like elite a productive offense. And I mean, and I'm gonna jump back and forth with offense and defense. And I mean, especially the defense. Holy shit. Vic Fangio. He answered the call. And Jalen Carter, last game he said, yeah, I played like trash. Well said. And you know, there's a meme by Shaq. He says like, hey, and I'm gonna quote Shaq on this one. Defense, I wasn't familiar with the game, and I apologize. You know that the Saints entering in this game, they were averaging 405.5 yards per game and 45.5 points per game. They had 40 burgers in both games.
Yeah.
You want to know how much we held them to? 219 total yards.
That was good.
30 pass yards.
It was a good performance.
89 rush yards. And of course, 6 of those 12 points after Jake Elliott missed that field goal on a 60-yard. Again, Nick Sirianni, North Korea. That's all I can say. and by the way, did you know the Eagles did not allow the Saints to convert a single one of their 20 first down snaps on a first down on Sunday. The only time that has happened in any game in the NFL this year. It's happened only 9 times last year in 544 offensive performances, just 1.6% of it. And looking at the snap count, Bryce Huff was played left, and Brandon Graham, involving Brandon Graham more, actually worked. And what I really saw interesting was the Eagles using more of those 5-man fronts. And when I saw the injury that Taysom Hill was not playing, because Taysom Hill, when he's there, the Saints usually go like immediately 11-12 personnel, and they just and it just runs through everyone because Taysom Hill, he can catch, he could run, he could throw. He's basically your go gadget player. And going with those 5-man fronts, I mean, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, they shut down that run game until that touchdown drive. I mean, Jalen Carter, holy shit, 4 total tackles. 3 solos, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 pass defended, 1 QB hit. Hell, Jordan Davis got himself a sack too, and he was effective as his Georgia counterpart. And I know, and of course, people are going to say this. In the very beginning of the game, Eric McCoy being out on that very first play of the Saints drive. I know injuries happen, but this is an advantage. They found what we would call a pigeon. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, they attacked it. And what I also saw is that right guard Cesar Ruiz out of the game. And hell, Brandon Graham, who is supposedly on his retirement tour, he's been playing more snaps. He's doing more than Bryce Huff. And which begs to differ, like, why the hell did Howie Roseman make that trade and let go of Hassan Reddick? And Reddick is now sitting out, so the Jets and the Eagles are suffering. Like, who the hell wants Reddick now? And I mean, the defense was the only thing that was keeping this Eagles into this game. They literally held them to 0-3 and 0-6 the entire game. And Zach Bond. What happened? When the Eagles made that pick for Zach Bond, I honestly was like, okay, he's going to play outside linebacker. I mean, so I think like actually it was more like Fangio wanted him because apparently he was supposed to lie. Basically, what it works is like you have your 5-man front. Zach Bond is supposed to add in as a mini edge rusher, and then because he plays that linebacker position, he can immediately go back into coverage, like almost like a stunt. That's what you would call it, right? And going in that and which is why going in a 5-2 formation, and playing, I want to say like more nickel. That's correct, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why they were able to work in no Taysom Hill. I was very surprised that Derek Carr kept on trying to run the ball, knowing that they were not going to get enough on that. Yes, Alvin Kamara got some yardages, but it was like kind of garbage at the last minute. But when the Eagles defense was holding them up, and I mean, if you want to talk about the past game, and by the way, Zach Bond, he had 1 tackle for loss, which was a Kamara turnover on downs. I mean, when they were trying to sweep, right? I think like Zach Bond avoids the double team and gets the legs, and then Brandon Graham finish it. Beautiful counter on this one. And he, out of 13 total tackles, 4 stops. He's already up to 37 combined tackles this season, second behind Nick Cross. Sign him into an extension, Howie Roseman, please. And I don't know what the hell we're doing with Devin White. I don't get what's going on. But Quinyon Mitchell, the Rook, have yourself another day. He broke a dude. Did you see that one play? He missed, like, he's paired up against Rashid Shaheed. Beautiful route by Shaheed. Mitchell basically misses it, but then as Derek Carr is trying to
speed, his speed catches up to Rashid Shaheed and blocks the play. Yeah.
He could have spiked it, but some people are saying, oh, you know what he could have done had he had turned around? He could have adjusted, grabbed the pick, and ran it for 6. Ran it for 6 the other way. I was like, come on, he'll get his pick. I was
so upset because I wanted Rashid Shaheed to get something because he's on my fantasy team. Yeah. He had 5 or 6 targets, 0 receptions.
Great, excellent job by Quinyon Mitchell. And I mean, and of course, during that play, I saw that he was getting pressured by Brandon Graham, or I think it was Thomas Booker or Moro Ojimo. Your boy from UT did a lot this game. And I mean, and of course, I looked at some of the Eagles. I was looking at some coverage snaps. Apparently, Darius Slay and Quinyon Mitchell had high coverage, had excellent coverage points. I'm trying to pull up the stat on this one. Oh my goodness, why is this taking so long? And I'm trying to pull it up. Okay, and yes, and speaking of which, Jalen Carter, 93.5% PFF grade in week 3. First among all interior defenders. This is what PFF says, but then again, they can do whatever the hell they want. And okay, and Quinyon Mitchell, Derek Carr, when he's targeting those Eagles corners, Quinyon Mitchell, 3 for 5, 29 yards, 64.6 QB rating. Darius Slay, 1 for 2, 9 yards, 56.3. And Darius Slay, excellent coverage on that one. They tried to do a fade route to Kamara. Slay with the hands. And then getting back to the offense, in the second half, I don't get Nick Sirianni trying to attack for 4th and 3 and allowing Jalen Hurts to take a sack, and it's just stupid play calling. But the offense, I have to give my 2 MVPs: Saquon Barkley and Dallas Goedert. If you had Dallas Goedert on your fantasy, that was the game. And speaking of Saquon Barkley, thank you again, Giants. Let me know where the address to send you a gift basket. Oh no, a very cheap ass gift basket. And I found this stat. Saquon Barkley rushed for 147 yards and scored 2 touchdowns on 17 carries. He had 87 rushing yards over expectation. He had reached 21.66 miles per hour on that touchdown run, which I will get to. The second fastest speed reached by a ball carrier this year. It would have been 9th overall last season. Overall, he had a 0.34 EPA per rushing attempt. And And which begs the question, like and I get that you want to target more of AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, but you also have tight ends. You have you have this position called a tight end. Anna, tell me what a tight end does, please. What is the definition of a tight end?
Catch and block.
Exactly. This was the Dallas Goedert game. Team high of 11 targets, 10 catches, 170 yards. Especially at the beginning of the game when Jalen Hurts was throwing, some of those deep passes Hurts was throwing to, especially when Goddard is going more like those out, like going in, starting from the inside, running deep out to his left or right. He was wide open, beating his safeties and making excellent catches, especially those one-handed grabs. I'm like, oh my God, that was beautiful. And of course, Devontae Smith, he did have a productive day, 7 catches for 79 yards, 21, the longest reception and that tough catch. But then I think, honestly, that momentum changed. It was about to start the fourth quarter. The last play, Jalen Hurts tries to throw a pass to Devontae Smith, catches it, tries to make it manageable for second down. But as he's getting tackled by one of the corners, two assholes by the name of Christian Boyd and Peyton Turner come and smash him. They literally concuss the man, and at the end we see Christian Boyd spitting on him. I wish nothing but the worst on you. I feel like this one guy from this Dave Chappelle skit, the Player Haters Club, Silky Johnson, he's like, I hate you, I wish you nothing but the worst. And I just found out he got fined $4,500.
Yeah.
By the NFL.
I'm surprised he wasn't suspended.
That should have been a flag, personal foul. And then after that hit, and Devontae Smith was able to walk out and yes, out of the game with a concussion. I also realized during the game, Lane Johnson and Mekhi Becton were out. And you had Fred Johnson and Tyler Steen. Fred Johnson's a backup tackle, right tackle, and Tyler Steen came in. They were actually pretty damn good, especially in run blocking and pass blocking attacks. I'm like, I was shocked.
Yeah,
And
Stoutland University.
Stoutland University, man. And it shows the depth. It shows how good that offensive line depth is. I'm almost done with my part. But anyway, I like that, and which I have to talk about the biggest play of the game. One of the biggest plays. Inside handoff. Saquon Barkley takes off for 65 yards. He says, like, F this. I'm going all the way. 7-3. We finally score a touchdown. What was your thoughts on that, man?
Frustrating. Because I so wanted the Eagles to lose. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. I had so many Saints players on I had Rashid Shaheed on my fantasy roster, and I needed him to have a big game. But he didn't, because your defense actually played well.
Yeah. I mean, credit to that. And then like on offense, and then defense, I don't know what happened, but after that 50-yard field goal, the 60-yard field goal attempt, a stupid play calling by Nick Sirianni, just pumped the ball and forced the Saints to drive the ball. You have the timeouts. It made no sense whatsoever. Late in the game, and with that, they were able to drive, and Chris Olave, and of course, we got to talk about that one play. Alvin Kamara runs out of bounds for the first down. You see another cheap ass, late bust motherfucker by the name of Trevor Penning pushes Darius Slay into the ground out of bounds. Unnecessary roughness. He's out of the game. Late fourth quarter. And guess who has to step in? Keely Ringo. And yeah, he gets burned a couple of times. And of course, Chris Olave with those, touchdowns. Attack that side. That's what you have to do, right? And Chris Olave gets a touchdown over Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I mean, like, it was bad to see.
CJGJ sucks.
I'll get to CJGJ later. At least he's bringing some kind of that mentality, like that dog-like swagger that we missed, that the Eagles secondary missed last year. We did not. We basically needed villains. We needed to be a villainous team, and
so you needed to be dirty.
No, I mean, at least we don't. We don't do that stuff. But now, I got to talk about this. I got to talk about the fourth quarter. The Eagles, after they scored, I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. And I want to talk about. I'm trying to find the play. I honestly thought the play of the game. This was a shoot. I cannot find that tape of I honestly call it, this could have been a candidate for Masala play of the game. It was the Dallas Goedert play. So let's look at this. So this is a 3rd and 16 after, I mean, Johnny Wilson, you backup wide receiver, you got to make that catch. So 3rd and 16, we're trying to at the 35-yard line. We're just trying to get enough to get the fourth down, enough to make a manageable fourth down. 2 timeouts. So we're seeing Goddard on his right, and then you're seeing 2 wide receivers. Jalen Hurts, apparently in the middle of the game, this thing, he's saying man coverage, and he makes an audible, and he says, "You know what? We're doing a mesh route." He goes mesh, and apparently. No, like it's supposed to be like Jahan Dotson, and look where Jahan Dotson does. He makes a pick right there. Do you see Jahan Dotson? If you go back a little bit,
right? He doesn't make the pick, but he forces a pick to be done by the the Saints defenders.
Okay, so like show. So let's say again. What are you telling me now?
He forces the pick to be done by the Saints defenders.
Boom,
like he
right
makes the Saints defenders run into each other, but that's based on the play of the design of the play, the mesh concept.
And I think like this was actually like I think Dallas Goedert said this in the interview in the press conference. Like Jalen Hurts like recognized it immediately, and like as they were about to hike, it's like he apparently he made that quick audible to that play. Excellent. And then Goddard goes all the way for a 61-yard gain. I thought that was one of my Masala play of the games. That's a candidate for that. And of course, it settles for the Barkley touchdown and the 2-point conversion. And then of course, how did the game end? Blankenship, the ghost, or as Eagles fans are now calling him White Chocolate.
Oh my God.
Chalk Doc. I call him the ghost because apparently he arrives at the right moment and gets the pick. It was a 2nd and 5, and apparently Derek Carr got pressured again because the Eagles defensive line was bringing in more pressure on those 5-man fronts. I didn't see that against the Saints, against the Falcons. When they did 5-man, it actually worked. And now there's a stat. NFL safeties with more interceptions than Reed Blankenship since the beginning of 2023. Your boy Xavier McKinney, Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, Kirby Joseph, Geno Stone, Jesse Bates, and Reed Blankenship. I mean, and of course, I was very happy with the game. Jalen Hurts had a good offense, but turnovers, and the play calling by Sirianni. Just let Kellen Moore do his play calling and also mix up that run. You saw Saquon Barkley take off, and yeah, Devontae Smith being out, not good. So we're stuck with Johnny Wilson, Paris Campbell, and yeah, Britton Covey getting out of the game. So Cooper DeJean, I saw him take some special team snaps. So Johnny Wilson, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting. Johnny Wilson, Jahan Dotson, and Paris Campbell. Not looking good for next week. But again, Saints are a dirty team. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he was talking at the end of the game. He was calling, and Jalen Carter had to be restrained by big Dominic Sirianni.
I saw that.
I was like, This is what I like. Let's get it, boy. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he was like, get like best what? Saints they're not contenders, they're pretenders. Why? Because they got Derek Carr. I'm like, damn. And Micah Parsons over there talking in his podcast. I'm like, bro. And then Chauncey Gardner-Johnson answered back saying, hey, bro, let's talk about this soon. I'm like, oh, let's get it. I missed that dog mentality. We shut that Saints offense down, and we made them look freaking mid as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a long segment, but god damn, it feels so good.
Yeah, but a long segment from both of us, honestly.
Yeah.
I think we took up an hour and a half just talking about our games.
Yeah.
So we got to speed it up for the other ones.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. For the other games, you mentioned the Cowboys with the Micah Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Cowboys, in Cowboys fashion, lost again at home to a good
How
team
about them Cowboys?
because they forgot how to play football against good teams. But it was actually, unfortunately, pretty close. Okay, the Ravens won 28-25, and the score seems like it was pretty close. And towards the end, it kind of was, except for the fact that these are the Cowboys and they will never win an important game. So the Ravens, why? Why do you do this all the time? You nearly blew a 28-6 lead again. Another 10-point plus lead again.
Are they trying to be the Falcons?
That's what I said. Fortunately for them, the ineptitude of the Cowboys far superseded their own ineptitude. Otherwise, this would have been like the Falcons. They would have been gunning for one of the worst instances of becoming the Falcons in their own history, which recently has been surprisingly and sadly a lot. They've had like at least 8 instances in the past 5 years where they've blown consistently 10 plus point leads, and that is on Harbaugh. That's on John Harbaugh. He has to light a fire under his players to say, and coaches, to not be conservative at the end of the game if you have a lead. This is exactly what the Packers did against the Titans. They were not conservative. Jeff Hafley said, no, you're sitting your ass down, and I'm making you do that. Why couldn't the Ravens do that to Dak Prescott?
I really don't understand Todd Monken at all. Like,
I don't either.
Why are you're doing so good in the first 3 quarters? Why are you abandoning something that's worked for you? And you're like trying to go pass happy? I don't get it.
Why aren't you using Derrick Henry in I formation power run? That's exactly what he's good at. That's exactly what he did at Tennessee. Your offensive line will heal better because your offensive line is not that great. Unfortunately for you, Lamar Jackson doesn't really have to do much because Derrick Henry, he is an alien species, okay? He's a specimen of an alien species where the more work you put on him, the better he becomes.
Yeah.
Literally, he gets faster the game goes on.
He's basically like the Hulk.
Tired.
The matter, or no, he's more like, if I could think of a comic book character, Doomsday, the villain of Superman. Every time he gets hit or he somehow dies, he revives and becomes more stronger.
There you go. With all the enemies that Derrick Henry smashes with his face, with his hands, he steals their energy and,
angry run. Him. You want the angry run scepter from Good Morning Football.
Exactly. There you go. And, you didn't really use him in the fourth quarter, but they did use him in all the other quarters, though. They ran the football.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't do that in the fourth quarter for some reason, but when they built that lead of 28-6, it's because they ran the football 45 times. They ran the ball 45 times in 3.5 quarters for 274 yards, 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry alone covered half of it, 25 for 151 and 2 touchdowns, and half of those were before contact. He had 71 yards before contact, meaning nobody touched him for half of his yardage. And this is not just him. The entire Ravens had 53% of all their rushing yards before they were contacted. They were all yards before contact. That just explains why the Cowboys defense. It's an explanation as to how bad the Cowboys run defense is. Is if half of your enemy, if your opponent's rushing yards is before contact, that means you don't have anybody penetrating the offensive line. Your linebackers are either missing tackles or not in space of the running back. And it's just like there's nobody there to defend the run. And that's exactly what's happened with the Cowboys.
Yeah. And I want to actually add on to your point, because you made a very excellent position about that interior of that Dallas defense. Yeah, you're not going to run against the edges because you're going to.
But they did both, though.
They did both, and yeah, because what I've understood, and you may have already explained this. The Cowboys' defense is built on speed and power, and when they have a lead, and are you real? And I wanted to ask the audience and you, do you really expect Mozzie Smith and Oza Diggy Sua, Diggy Chiggy, whatever the fuck you want to call him? No, I mean. You expect Osa Odigizua and Mozzie Smith to stop an angry Derrick Henry running through your offense like he broke through the Great Wall of China.
250 pounds. You're not and it's not just the interior D-line, dude. It's like their linebackers. Their linebackers are like 220 pounds soaking wet.
Oh, Eric Henry, Damone Clark, Devarian Overshown. Ooh. Mike Zimmer defense for you guys.
Mike Zimmer tried, but they just don't have the personnel. They don't have the personnel to promote or provide a competent run defense, let alone a good one, just competent. And because the Ravens were allowed to run the ball so well, Micah disappeared into the nether.
No, he appeared in podcasting. He did.
Yeah, exactly. He just disappeared from the game and reappeared in this podcast because they only pressured the Ravens on 5.9% of snaps. That's it. 0 sacks. Lamar threw it 15 times total on the game. 12 of 15 for 182 total yards. And guess what? Guess what?
What?
The worst part of all this is they had 151 yards after catch.
Oh my God.
That's 83% yak. That means the defense was invisible and they did not tackle.
Hey, maybe they should learn from the Eagles how they tackle.
83% yak.
And you'd want to know who got the biggest yak of them all? Nelson effing Aguilar.
Well, like 50 yards.
If Nelson Aguilar can make a big game after that,
yeah,
I'm sorry, you should just quit.
This defense needs to quit.
No, you need to get aside. Hey, did you know that Nelson Aguilar beat?
Sadly for Cowboys fan, their misery is not over because their offense is the definition of garbage time.
Yeah,
because do you know they're the #1 pass offense in garbage time and 32nd when they're within 7 points of the lead.
I didn't know that.
So in crunch time, and this is a shout out to Bootleg Football Podcast by Brett Coleman and his co-host. They were talking about the Cowboys game and they had mentioned this. That they're 32nd, dead last in the league. That means the Giants are better when they're in passing situation when they're 7 points within the lead.
Dang.
The Bears with Caleb Williams. I think this is the stat. Correct me. I'm sure somebody
I
will correct
I
me.
I
But
don't know that. Yeah, but
no,
yeah.
but it just goes to explain, even if the stat is wrong, they don't know how to pass efficiently, and they don't know how to pass effectively.
You know what
They
I
just don't know
yeah,
how to do it at all. The wide receivers are not separating. The offense is stale. It's old school Mike McCarthy West Coast offense that's that got him fired from from Green Bay, that made Aaron Rodgers mad because the success of Mike McCarthy's offense happens when you have studs at receivers. What the Packers were successful in 2014 with Mike McCarthy. Why? Because they had Jordy Nelson on the outside, Devontae Adams as a rookie coming in, young stud. They had Randall Cobb coming later, right? But they had Greg Jennings, or not Greg Jennings. They had Donald Driver or James Jones. They had pass catchers who were excellent at separation and at get off.
preach it.
Who do the Cowboys have other than CD Lamb?
Let me guess. Jaden Tolbert, Brandon. I actually have the roster in front of me. Jaden Tolbert, Brandon Cooks, Jalen Brooks, Ryan Flournoy, Jake Ferguson, Luke Schoonmaker, Hunter Lepke.
Their fullback was effective. That's it. Hunter Lepke. Like they don't have the offensive weapons necessary to make a Mike McCarthy offense successful. They just don't.
They didn't target a big name wide receiver in this free agency.
It's not just big name free agency wide receivers. It's the draft. They have failed. We've consistently had for the past 2 to 3 years, 3 to 4 years, in fact, really good, deep wide receiver classes. They have yet to pick someone other than CD Lamb who's been successful. And CD Lamb was there for that. That was a great selection for them.
Yeah.
Who else? Look at the Packers. Look at how many wide receivers who would be like the number 2 wide receiver in Dallas. Look at the Bills. Look at how successful they are on the offense.
Keon Coleman. I am shocked about
but
Keon
it's not
Coleman.
just Keon Coleman. It's Khalil Shakir. It's Curtis Samuel at one point.
And Matt Collins.
Matt Collins.
A late Eagles pick and Super Bowl champ, by the way. Matt Collins when he's serviceable.
Look at the Chiefs.
Oh my God. Death by wide receiver.
There are so many offenses that are successful without having number 1 wide receivers.
Hey, look at the Eagles.
Look at the Vikings, dude. Sam Darnold is not targeting Justin Jefferson more than like 20 or 30%.
It's amazing, though. Yeah.
So the Cowboys need to figure this out because Dak threw for 51 times against this Ravens secondary because they also can't run the football. So not only can they not pass the football, they can't run the football either.
Jared Goff. He went full Jared Goff like last week against the Bucks. 55 times.
At least Jared Goff has other offensive weaponry. Yeah. Dak Prescott has nobody. And unlike what Jerry Jones thought, Zeke ain't going to solve shit. You know, there was I don't know if this was true or not, but there was a rumor that Jerry Jones didn't go for Derrick Henry, who's a Texas native, by the way, because he was too expensive. Do you know the contract differences in terms of cap hit for this year?
No, please tell me.
Derrick Henry is 11th in the league at $5 million. Guess where Zeke is?
21.
36th, but at $2 million. It is literally a $3 million difference. You couldn't spare that much when you're worth $8.5 billion as a franchise? What does this say about the organization? I am pissed off if I was pretending to be a Cowboys fan. I'm happy that I'm not a Cowboys fan and I can watch this misery happen over and over and over again. Because guess what? Here is my proclamation, my beat the dole moment. Cowboys are not making the playoffs. The Commanders are.
Whoa! Oh, damn. We got to get Abhishek on this one, man.
Cowboys ain't making the playoffs. The Commanders are.
Yeah.
The Commanders will be second in the division after the Eagles. And then the Cowboys will be third.
I have a beat the dome moment on this one.
Okay.
I think the Commanders can win the NFC East.
I think they can, but
They
their
can.
defense is not going to let them.
I think no, because it's if Jalen Hurts keeps on. I mean, if the Eagles keeps shooting themselves in the foot, I think the Commanders can easily win the NFC East.
But your defense has proven that they can at least win some games. So I think what can happen is Eagles go like 11-6, and the Commanders go 10-7 or 9-8.
I would not be surprised by that. The way
because their defense sucks. It sucks so bad. It's not even in the league.
I saw a comment on like after that game, like on Bleacher Report. Someone said, "Can someone please put Emmanuel Forbes on IR permanently?" I'm like, "Damn, that bad."
I'll show you where the Commanders are ranked.
But yeah, I mean, no, but go ahead with your thing.
You see this? Look at where they are. Not even close. 0.3 in defensive EPA per play. That's dead last in the league. Commanders defense. Look at that defensive series conversion rate. That means how many series on average are converted into points. Look how far away they are from the other defenses.
So
like Bengals and Rams, Cowboys sneaking in there. Look at pass protection. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Run defense. Look at where the Cowboys are.
Bruh.
Look at how far away they are in terms of PFF grade and pass rush win rate. Or run block win rate.
Yeah.
Run block win rate. What is it? Something. It's like when you defeat the run. When you defeat the run block. I'm forgetting.
I don't know, run stop or something like that. We can call it that.
Yeah, run stop win rate. There you go. Run stop win rate. That's what it is. So yeah. It's the Commanders are not going to win because their defense sucks. But the Cowboys will definitely not win because they can't stop the run. They can't run the football. They're not efficient at passing the football, and they don't have an efficient pass defense. That's a recipe for disaster. And that's my take on the Cowboys. The Ravens are worrisome. They should have won this game by 20 plus points. But as always, they take their foot off their gas, and the opponent places theirs on their throat. Because this is exactly what happens. You take your foot off your gas, and your opponent places their foot on your throat. The good ones do. So they need to be better in terms of this conservatism if they want to contend for deep playoffs.
Speaking of the Ravens, I have them upcoming in the future because we got to talk about this.
There you go. There you go.
All right. My Masala game of the week. I have to say, I really have to stop picking games, honestly. I really do. Because the curse is back. The Masala curse game. Those that are new, every time I pick a Masala game of the week, and I thought it would be a close game. What happens, Anand?
It's a blowout. It's a blowout.
Texas,
almost every time. I think you have like a 90+% success rate.
There needs to be a study on this one, honestly. I don't get it. It's not my fault when I pick these games. I mean, so Texans 7, Vikings 34.
Texans. You had one job. You had one job. Beat the Vikings. But no. CJ Stroud was absolutely ransacked by the Vikings defense. Vikings, I think they're number 1 in the league in terms of blitz percentage. They run blitz 46.7% of the time. So nearly half the time, Brian Flores is calling blitzes. And on second down, they run blitz 60% of the time.
That is what a Brian Flores defense does. And you know what? I think if I had a game ball to give, immediately to Brian Flores.
Cover 2 and cover 4 pass defense was 25 snaps versus the Texans.
And with that, CJ Stroud, and when I saw the stats that Joe Mixon, and I saw the news that Joe Mixon was not available for this game, this Texans offense works when you have the run game going. No game, if you're relying on Cam Akers, British Brooks, and JJ Taylor, it's not going to work well. You're basically forcing CJ Stroud to stay in the pocket. And you're seeing what the Vikings blitz you at what you said 60% of the time,
almost on second down and 47% on average.
And with that, CJ Stroud, his final stats: 20 for 31, 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, sacked 4 times, a quad sack, 25.4 QBR, and a rating of 68.6 according to ESPN in this game, and. Of course, biggest MVP on that defense, Jonathan Greenard, former Texans. Jonathan Greenard, 3 sacks and forced 2 interceptions in those pressures. And I mean, like, and Stephon Diggs, he got his shares, but he was yelling and all that. I mean, Nico Collins was targeted 10 times, only got 4. Stephon Diggs. Yeah, everyone thought it was going to be the Stephon Diggs play and Tank Dell, but it was really bad. No run game going, and I don't know if Bobby Slowick had the opportunity to like evolve his game using other backs. I wish they could have done that, but it doesn't work. It didn't work. I mean, And now we got to talk about the offense. This is going to pain you because I found this stat from Next Gen. You're my brother, Anant. We will go.
Go ahead.
This is the stat. All 4. So Sam Darnold, he was 17 for 28, 181 yards of passing, 4 touchdowns. And yes, he was sacked 4 times. But all 4 of Sam Darnold's touchdowns against the Texans, short passes, the dink and dunk. This is what, knowing Sam Darnold's strengths, Kevin O'Connell was able to like diversify his offense. Okay, you know what? Instead of Sam Darnold to force the ball, we're going to open up with that run game. Aaron Jones just ran through them. 19 carries, 102 yards, and of course a long 39-yarder. And basically the 0 to 10 air yards, basically a dink and dunk, and against no blitz and against man coverage. 3 were on dropbacks over 2.5 seconds. He's leading the NFL in touchdowns on dropbacks over 2.5 seconds. I mean, that is just insane. And I mean, that offense is so good. Justin Jefferson didn't even have a 100-yard reception game. 81 yards of receiving, 1 touchdown. Aaron Jones, 46 yards, 1 touchdown. Jalen Naylor, not Jalen Rager, by the way, folks. Jalen Naylor, 31 yards, 1 touchdown. And of course, Johnny Mund, who got himself probably like a garbage touchdown, but oh my goodness. It was just really effective, and I don't know what I don't know what to say. That I did not expect this game from the Texans defense to fold. I honestly thought like having Will Anderson come in, but like to try and attack from the edges. But you know, give credit to Kevin O'Connell opening up with that run game, running it through. It's just, I have no words. I honestly have no words about this game.
Yeah.
What can I say?
It's you know, depressing to watch as a Packers fan with the Vikings being this good, but We shall see this weekend. Your
And
test is on, Vikings. Your
and
test is on.
and I also thought like and if you want to talk about self-inflicting wounds, the Texans were penalized 11 times for 88 yards. They have to
Half
clean
of
up.
them were on Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah. Oh, right. Laramie Tunzel. Flag. It's like they targeted that guy, but
Alrighty. Well, that concludes the Masala games recap and our personal games recap. Now we're gonna move on to the best segment that we have to offer, the Punch Minute Recap. Let's get started, shall we? With the AFC. Thursday Night Football. Jets, Patriots. Jets win 24-3. I was partially wrong. I thought the Patriots could win 7 to 8 games, but no, the Patriots are horrendous and they can't defeat good teams. So, Jets fans, you must feel pretty nice having a better than Zach Wilson type QB play, right? So, anyways, Erod is winning comeback player of the year. That's what's happening. He was actually pretty phenomenal. I loved watching vintage A-Rod. There was this one play where he threw a beautiful I think it's the touchdown play that he had to Garrett Wilson. And it's like vintage Aaron Rodgers with the perfect accuracy to just be able to get rid of or throw it away from the defensive back. Is like just within reach. Fantastic. Next, Steelers, Chargers. Steelers win 20-10. TJ Watt is reinstalling the steel curtain in the 21st century. What is old is gold in this case, as the Steelers have been the stingiest defense this entire season. First in EPA per play allowed, points per game allowed at 8.7 points per game, red zone percentage at 16%, third down percentage, average points allowed per drive.
And you know
All
why?
number one.
Do you know why? Because it's part of what we call that high-end talent. And with Justin Fields having a miracle, you know what this means? The Steelers are going to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And urinating refresh. Oh my God. If they make it this far, I will lose my mind. I think I can't. Oh God, Yenzers are going to. Yes, and it's true. The Steelers are going. Imagine if the Vikings and the Steelers go undefeated and they face each other in the Super Bowl. God help us. I'm sorry.
No, I want the Steelers to make some noise in the playoffs and just have the ugliest playoff games you could possibly think. 13-10, 13-11.
It's 2000 already.
It's going to be delicious.
Okay. It's stellar football.
Giants, Browns. Giants win 21-15. Now, I will say this.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones has more touchdowns and fewer turnovers than Jalen Hurts.
I did see that, yeah.
Danny Dimes.
I know.
Has more touchdowns and fewer turnovers than Jalen Hurts.
But when he plays Philly, he's going. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is going to have some pick sixes for sure.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Danny Dimes has 4 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts has 2. Danny Dimes has 2 turnovers. Jalen Hurts has 6. He is second in the league with the most turnovers. Will Levis is the most at 8. But he is second with 6.
I know.
It's good to not be an Eagles fan.
We're 2-1, baby.
We'll see. We'll see how long that record lasts. All right, next up, Colts versus Bears. Colts win 21-16. Good luck, Caleb. It's a literal garbage offensive line. But hey, he threw his first touchdown pass. So, oh my God, that is so good. Roma Dunze got his first touchdown pass. Malik Willis is playing better than this scrub.
Can I
And
say
Malik
something?
Willis arrived in Green Bay 3 weeks ago.
Can I say something about this game?
What?
Oh, I was watching it halfway. Both teams wanted to give away the game. It was so bad.
There's a red zone goal line play. I think it's like 3rd and goal or something, or 4th and goal for the Bears. Okay. And it's at like the 1 or 2 yard line. So what do you think they do? Do
Run the
they
ball.
pound it in with the rock? With
Pound the rock.
13-man, 23-man I formation?
Yeah,
Get
you
the
got
ball
DeAndre
over the
Swift.
end zone?
Use him.
Or do like a play action and you throw the ball to an offensive lineman, for example?
Yeah,
No.
try that. What they do?
Speed option to the outside. And guess what happened?
It failed.
4 of the offensive line fell to the ground immediately after 1 second. I'm going to try and find this clip and play it for you.
And I mean, someone free my boy DeAndre Swift. you can keep him, Bears. We got Saquon, baby.
Mm-hmm. No, where is the play? Okay. Bears, Colts, end zone. Bears, red zone. Play. I think it is right. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, I can't seem to find it. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
I think it's this one. All right. This is the most hilarious. It is literally 4th and goal. Okay.
Oh God. Are we about to lose brain cells with this thing?
Fourth down. Continue.
It's 4th and goal.
Why are they in shotgun formation?
It's shotgun formation. It's literally from the 1 yard line. So it's 4th and goal from the 1 yard line. And the Bears are in 11 personnel. They're in 12 personnel. Because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that 2 sets of butts? Yes. So that's 6 offensive linemen plus a tight end. And then you got a running back and Caleb in shotgun formation, running back to his left. You got 2 wide receivers down here. So it looks like a run play because all the Colts defenders, 9 players are within in goal line formation, goal line defense.
Be aggressive. Well, you got man coverage out here.
And now the running back moves behind into gun.
So somebody should be one-on-one.
And it's a read option.
Williams.
Look at this.
Oh my God.
Down. Look at the amount of it's 5 Colts defenders who are literally. It's been 1 second. Look at the play clock. Play clock is the ball is snapped at 146.
Continue to be aggressive. Well, you got man coverage out here, so somebody should be one-on-one.
145. 1 second. It literally took the Bears
4 seconds.
half a second.
4
Or
seconds.
the Colts to half a second to go through 80% of the offensive line. And then look what happens. There's nobody. There's no way they score.
Swift in trouble, and down he goes.
What is this play call? What is this execution? It's if I'm a Bears fan, I am making a beeline to Lake Michigan. Just like last week versus the Texans, I am making a beeline to Lake Michigan. And guess what? Here's the other thing. The Colts have one of the worst, if not the worst, rushing defenses. Worse than the Cowboys. What do the Bears do? Do you know what the Bears do? Venture a guess. Venture a guess. Rakshak is just shocked. I want you to speak so that the camera actually picks up what you're doing.
I'm in shock. Why? You can take a picture of this on a meme it if you have to. I'm like,
the Bears. Okay.
The Bears made me this stupid right now.
So here's the comparison. All right. Here's why Bears fans should just take a dip into Lake Michigan and permanently never come out. All right. Just go to Lake Michigan, dump yourself in there, never come out because you don't want to hear this. The Packers against the Colts ran for 250 rushing yards in the first half. The Bears, 63 on the entire game. They ran 28 times and threw 52 times.
Oh my God. Anand.
This is why Seahawks fans were so happy when Shane Waldron left Seattle. Do you remember seeing that interview during the Super Bowl where JSN is asked, or Tyler Lockett is asked, I think it's JSN, is asked about Shane Waldron, and JSN literally says, "Are we live?" Indicating that he has so many bad things to say about Shane Waldron. This is what happens when you're a Bears fan. And good for you. You deserve it. You deserve nothing but misery, suffering, and death.
I just want to go back to this pose again because I'm still shocked by that one play.
You want to be even more shocked? Broncos beat the Bucks 26-7. I'm a believer. Not a chance to change my mind. I'm in love with Bo Nix. I'm a believer. I'm a believer in my mind.
I mean, I'm please tell me something good that came out of this game because I'm still stuck with the most horrendous play call I've ever seen. This is even worse than that 4th and 1 fake push. I mean, what the actual
dude? There are like 80 billion play calls that could have been run in that situation that would have been more effective.
For me, if
the Bears
push that shit,
literally have the worst EPA per play in terms of offense. And there's a reason why. They have the worst offensive line. There's a reason why. Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah.
5-minute recap has been 15 minutes now.
We were just trying to scratch our heads through this.
Yeah. All right. Last game for me. Bills versus Jags. Bills 47, Jags 10. Fire every Jags front office member and coach into the sun. Shad Khan needs an extinction of Jaguars by eliminating the bloat that has accumulated in the stench pit of Florida, Jacksonville. Josh Allen is MVP, by the way.
Yeah. And Tony Khan, you know what? If you want Tony Khan to be out of the way, let him focus on AEW and Fulham FC.
Yeah. That's why Shad Khan needs to take control back.
No,
fire Trent Baalke, fire everybody.
Doug Peterson,
fire somebody from, huh?
Doug Peterson and Press Taylor both have to go.
Especially Press Taylor.
Press Taylor, I'm shocked that he was still coaching because he was the Eagles' quarterback coach during that Super Bowl run. I mean, and I'm still shocked to the day that we were able to beat the Patriots with
Nepotism,
Frank Reich,
baby.
Frank Reich and Jim Schwartz. Holy crap. We got lucky in that
Nepotism.
Josh Allen, MVP.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to him about that. Now, NFC, let's get to it. Rams versus Niners. Ooh, Niners.
Let's go,
Covered
Winers. 40
wine, Niners wine on your road to misery. Debo, your man.
Along with Brandon Ayuk.
You just suck. You lost to a team who has an IR as a roster. Like I'm gonna stop, but man, Rams, what a freaking comeback! Matt Stafford on fire. And Jordan Mason, another legacy game. I think, and Javon Hargrave, he's reported to be out for the entire season with a torn pec. Mm-hmm. So they're taking more hits on injury, and looks like Christian McCaffrey may be on IR long term. So Jordan Mason breakout game. Second game. And of course, Rams win on that beautiful punt return by a guy taking his first snaps in an NFL game. And I think that is guess what? That is a nominee for Masala Moment of the Week. And next, Lions versus Cardinals. 20-13 Lions. They won by running the ball, and the hook and ladder play. That's one thing I can think of. And Jared Goff actually running the ball to get that first down. Panthers versus Raiders. Oh my God. Panthers 36, Raiders 22. Andy, the Red Rifle Dalton. When they made that pick, I think the Panthers are the only team this week to put up 30 plus points over the Raiders.
Andy Dalton, Red Rifle.
3 touchdowns. I mean,
he is now facing the Bungles next.
Oh my God.
Spoiler alert, that's my Masala game of the week.
And then, I mean, yeah, it's just as Raiders. What's up? And Antonio Pierce throwing everyone under the bus. Literally, watch the press conference. Not good. Seahawks versus Dolphins, 24-3. Dolphins without Tua. I mean, they need to put Tyler Huntley in this game. Skylar Thompson's not it. And Geno Smith to DK. I mean, their offense is just on point. Zach Charbonnet is like, hey, no Kenneth Walker, no problem. Just give it to Zach Charbonnet. And Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Jackson Smith and Jigba made life easier for Geno. And that Seahawks defense under Mike McDaniel on point as hell. Dolphins had no offense whatsoever, except when they forced turnovers and they couldn't capitalize. Chiefs versus Falcons. Hooray for ref ball, baby. 22-17. And I put the curse on the Falcons because what they did to my Eagles. And you know what? That's what you get. You like that, Kirk? You like that, Kirk and your stupid ass funky Southern funky bunch. But on that should have been holding passing interference call. But it was a good offense by the Falcons. They were doing pretty good. But then why the hell on a 4th and 1 are you going the most stupidest? I mean, Tom Crosby said that was the most dumbass play I've ever seen. I don't get it. Then Commanders versus the Bungles, 38-33. I was shocked because, spoiler alert, this won my Masala moment of the week. Jaden Daniels. This was the first game that had 0 punts and 0 turnovers. And Bengals, you were at the end zone, but you couldn't capitalize. Hey, Jamar Chase got 2 touchdowns. Whoop-de-doo. But you had no running game. Commanders, they ran a collegiate offense, Cam Taylor-Britt, and they just burnt your ass. So, as I'm going to quote The Rock, Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
All righty. So, final segment for our recap, the Masala moment of the week. For me, it's going to be some Justin Fields. He's going to get some love. He throws a dart for a game-winning touchdown versus the Chargers. And here's how it goes. It's 2nd and 7 on their own 45-yard line. And Justin Fields lines up in, I believe, here, let me bring up the best plays. Nope, that's not it. Okay. So here it goes. Yeah, there we go. All right.
Now here they are.
So you can see that he lines up in shotgun formation with a back to his left, and they run.
Beautiful by Saquon.
So it's a trips formation that is then moved with motion to a 2-by-1. And it looks like it is 11 personnel because you got the tight end on the other side in a 2-by-2 set, actually.
With the COVID year while he was at Ohio State. Now here they are, teammates.
So now you have 4 receivers going down. You got the running back coming from a wheel route. And then now just look what happens with Justin Fields.
2nd and 7.
It's pretty secure. And then, boom, he rifles a throw to Tavon Austin.
It's not Tavon Austin.
Downfield, and Tavon Austin just with his speed turns that into a touchdown. Do you want to see how close this throw was?
That was very close.
2nd and 7.
It was very close to linebacker.
Look at that throw.
Oh!
That throw is literally 6 inches away from the linebacker. 6 inches away from the linebacker. There's another view of that touchdown that's, I think, on Twitter, where it's a front view, so it's a backside view of Justin Fields and the offense, so you can see where the ball is going, and it is so close. He's so accurate, and he is enjoying himself. He's being efficient. He's not turning over the football. And this is another example of coaching matters. Coaching matters because you look at Malik Willis, you look at Justin Fields. Yeah, Justin Fields is not blowing you out of the water. Right. He's better than last year. He's way better than last year. He's efficient. He's not turning over the football. He's making plays like that one. So he deserves some love, and I'm happy that he's getting he's in a good situation. So, yeah, that was my Masala moment of the week.
You want to know what my Masala moment of the week is? Spoiler alert. It goes to that one Commanders Bungles game. And I have to share this with you. Yeah. I think I was like, oh my God, what did I just see? So, third and 26. This is basically you're lining two wide receivers on each side. Looks like 2 tight ends and running back Brian Robinson Jr. Jaden Daniel in shotgun formation. Okay, error number 1. Bengals. What the hell is this cover? Why are you playing safe? Are you literally trying to play prevent? It's a 3rd and 7. Why are you not jamming? Play press. Hikes the ball. So they go, basically, this is a 0 blitz. Basically, all linebackers, and you're trying to say, we're going to give our best bets to our corners and defensive backs to make a play. Jaden Daniels sits in the pockets, takes a hit, floats, scary Terry. Oh my God, builds enough separation from Cam Taylor-Britt. Talking about all that shit about, it's a college offense. Bread in the basket. Shocks that crowd. I mean, if you want a bigger look at that, let's go this a little bit further. Here it is. See this. I like to call it toe drag swag. Boom. any wide receiver that makes that play, the quarterback's gonna love that guy. You
Mhm.
pay this beats any Masala moment game nominee that I have. I mean, you could have gone with the hook and ladder. I could have gone with that Dallas Goedert game, that long run and Saquon Barkley.
Mhm.
This was it. This was it.
It's unbelievable. What an unbelievable throw by Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that's going to be it for us in terms of the week 3 recap. So now we are going to do the preview for week 4. Rakshak,
Yes.
this is partly, I think this is one of the first rounds of rivalry week because you know why?
Why?
Packers, Vikings, Chiefs, Chargers. Let's look at the other games that are there as well, right?
Yeah.
If you look up at
I think we have a rivalry about to happen again. Eagles versus Bucks. The Bucks have faced the Eagles almost 4 times in a row, like literally.
You got
And-
Cowboys Giants, which is technically a rivalry, but you got Saints Falcons. That's a rivalry going on, right? You
Yeah.
also have Jags Texans. That's a rivalry. So Bills Ravens. That's another one that's happening Sunday night football.
Oh, and by the way,
you're going to
spoiler alert. That's my Masala game of the week.
Exactly. So yeah, without further ado, let's start Proto Rivalry Week preview, starting with those Packers up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. We are facing the Vikings. So all I have to say are 3 words. F the Vikings, F the Vikings, F the Vikings. That's it. All I have to say is that. But anyways, in all seriousness, Vikings are 3-0 in part and actually mostly because of their defense. Their defense has stymied offenses in a massive way. You just look at the last, in the recap that Rakshak had his Masala game of the week when he chose the Texans versus Vikings. The Vikings just completely dismantled CJ Stroud and his offense.
Oh, completely.
Because the Vikings have been the best blitzing team in the league. 46% on average. That's either number 1 or number 2 in the entire league. And 60% on second down. So second down, they're just destroying offenses and forcing offenses into third and long position, which, as we all know, frequently leads into 3 and outs, or at least drive stoppers, because then if you have third and long, it's a much lower percentage of probability to complete and keep your drive forward. So that's why they do a lot of blitzes. And even the craziest part is the way that Brian Flores does his blitzes is not simple, because sometimes he's going to show cover 2 and then rotate to cover 3 and then bring a linebacker blitz. Or sometimes he's going to have safeties drop down into corner positions and then bring like a corner blitz from the other side.
Right.
So it's a very unique and very complex system that that Brian Flores runs, and it's crazy on quarterbacks. But the Brian Flores defense killer is one Mr. Matt LaFleur.
Ooh.
He is a sicko mastermind when it comes to tearing apart those Flores defenses. You just have to take a look at what happened last year versus the Vikings towards the end of the year when Brian Flores was in his bag. 33-10.
Oh yeah. That was like the New Year's Eve game, right?
33 points dropped on them, Brian Flores defense. 470 yards of offense, 177 on the ground, 293 in the air with Jordan Love. Now, the question on how the Packers offense beats this Vikings defense
Mhm.
is with the run game.
Oh,
Okay.
to
So
beat the
far,
Bills, you have to run properly.
right, but so the reason why is because so far the Packers, their biggest strength has been the run game. We have been the number one rushing team in the league in terms of pure uh yards per game, right?
Mhm.
204, and I think we're in the top 5 in terms of yards per play, rushing yards per play as well. And in terms of adjusted line yards, which measures the offensive capability as well, if we take a look at that, we
Mhm.
are also in the top 10. Right. Yeah, we're close by there. So, um, yeah, it's a significant ranking. You know, we have to be, we have to take this and use it to our advantage, because the Vikings, they're 12th in adjusted line yards, which means they do give up some ground game, and they're 18th in second level, which means their linebackers are not that great at run defense, whether it's missed tackles or just not being up in space. So we hit them right up the middle. And this is the reason why I say we slam it right up the middle, because the Packers offensive line dominated excellent run defense, run D linemen like Jeffrey Simmons, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, DeForest Buckner. So we're not really worried about Jerry Tillery. When we've compiled 612 total yards of rushing on all of these interior defensive linemen,
Mhm.
we're not worried about Jerry Tillery. Plus, if we have a strong running game, especially with the way that LaFleur builds this offense,
Yep.
where he brings in old school style run schemes, but mixes it with modern play action and jet sweep and different motions to confuse the defensive the linebackers and safeties into deciding what is actually happening, because there's like a series of plays that happened in the Titans game where from the same exact formation,
Mhm.
the two different motions indicated one was going to be a pass or a run, but you didn't know that until after the play started. So the linebackers were thoroughly confused, and it allowed Jaden Reed to get that the jet sweep to the or the end around and take it for 33 yards. And then the other play was like a swing pass from like the same formation. So LaFleur just has a way of manipulating linebackers and safeties with the motion, which is what is classic of Shanahan style offenses, which is exactly what they do. They use a lot of motion to manipulate linebackers, and LaFleur has just become really, really good at that in terms of amplifying the run game, because he uses the pass to set up the run.
Oh.
We could see that in the Titans game, right? We all thought that the Packers were going to come out just running like 4 times straight, right? No, it was the pass game that it was started with. And Malik Willis, credit to him, he was just throwing lasers out there. So if they can implement a similar system like this, like the one with the Titans, one against the Titans, against this Vikings defense, where they focus on manipulating the linebackers with a lot of motion,
Mhm.
then this can be very beneficial, especially when it's blitzing. Jordan Love is really, really good against the blitz. We saw that last year when he played the Vikings. Just the way that he just stood in the pocket and just delivered time and time and time again, right? Making checks on the on the line, changing protections. So all that stuff is exactly what the Packers offense needs to do. So on defense, I think this is where the Packers can win, because the Vikings offense, man, it's been surprising. Sam Darnold is right up there in terms of, MVP caliber type of player, because when you look at his particular efficiency, right?
Yep.
Where is it? Where is Sam Darnold? Yeah, Sam Darnold is, I believe, 7th in offensive grade, PFF offensive grade, And
Right.
in terms of EPA per play, he is, let's take a look. In terms of quarterbacks, EPA per play.
So I think like
Sixth.
yeah, he's 6th.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've seen him play, especially against good defenses like the Titans, right? Or sorry, Texans, scoring 34 points. It's definitely going to be an issue for the Packers defense if Aaron Jones gets the ball and dominates the running game. It's going to be significant. So the Packers, what they need to do is they need to get pressure on Sam Darnold, not from the edges, but from the interior, because the Vikings interior has allowed 20 total pressures across 3 games. Okay. And a total of 29th in pass block efficiency and 40% pressure rate for all of on all of Sam Darnold's dropbacks. So Bain, Gary, and company have to wreak havoc and force Sam Darnold to make mistakes. Xavier McKinney, we all know our secondary is fantastic at turning over the football and catching balls thrown to them or making plays with their hands, because we are number 1 in the league in terms of 7 interceptions. But that's partly because we faced Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, and Jalen Hurts, 3 of the most notorious QBs in terms of turning over the football.
Yep.
So we have to force Sam Darnold, and the only way that works is to pressure him from the inside. So I think that the Packers barely win 23-21, and Aaron Jones, of course, has a huge game because it's his homecoming game, but as the enemy.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Okay. And with that, my game, Eagles versus Bucks. This, I think, like with the Eagles coming up from a very close win against Saints and the Bucks coming back from a shellacking by the Broncos, which was, I mean, I was very shocked by that. But then again, the Bucks are entering this game with a ton of injuries at the moment. And if I were to look at my biggest parts, if I do Eagles defense versus Bucks offense, here's how I do. And my biggest focus is, how are you going to have the Eagles defense stop Chris Godwin and Mike Evans? Because those two guys, regardless of whether they are in their primes, like they're just playing God mode whatsoever. I mean, like so far in 3 games, Mike Evans has just had 14 targets. Evans has converted 10 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And his average depth to target is 11.4 yards, which would easily be the worst in his career. Now, and this is where I would say, and I think like this is going to be the issue on like how this young Eagles secondary is going to handle Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Godwin, in his own way, he's an excellent wide receiver too. I don't have his numbers from the top of my head, but if I were to do it matchup by matchup, I would say right now your best cornerback for the Eagles is Quinyon Mitchell. Technically, he's been allowing. I mean, Quinyon Mitchell's A.dot this season has been like 14.3 yards, thanks to that thanks to this inconsistent pass rush. I think, but in this case, I think you'd stick with Quinyon Mitchell because he has that makeup speed that recovery speed. But I would say Vic Fangio puts CJ GJ to help him out as a bracket. Maybe it's like, but then again, like if you were to look at the Bucks the Bucks depth chart, pulling that up, they have an inconsistent running game, especially with Bucky Irving. I mean, Bucky Irving so far, he's had 25 carries, 154 total yards, 6.2 average. But if I'm looking at weapons alone, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and rookie Jalen McMillan, K.Dot, and Rashad White, or Bucky Irving. Those are my main guys. If I'm the Eagles, the question is, do you go with that same 5-man front that you placed off against the Saints? I don't know about that because with the Bucks offensive coordinating, I think they will switch up. They're going to easily switch up their offensive side. And plus, And I'll get to that injury list because that may come into a key play on how this Eagles pass rush can attack. You're about to say something, Anand? Oh yeah, but if that is the case, I mean, I don't think you go. I mean, if you want to go 5-man front, I recommend you keep like the way that Zach Bond was being used as like that sixth edge rusher. Then he comes out because of his coverage ability. That would be good. But I also think, and Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, if you are listening, please put in Devin White for this game. He knows his Bucs defense. I want it to be his homecoming. And I think and also I would try and look at the Broncos blueprint and how they were able to attack Baker Mayfield. I mean, Mayfield was sacked 7 times and threw a pick, and there are injuries piling up in that O-line. And speaking of it, I have the injury list according to Philly Voice. Shout out to Jimmy Kempski for this. So far, if you look at their tight end, Cole Cleft, he did not practice. Left tackle Tristan Wirfs is limited. Right tackle Luke Gadecki, he had a full practice, but he's been suffering from a concussion. Center Graham Barton is there, and now I think we have a pigeon. His name is Cody Mock. Right tackle, right guard. He usually play in that B-cap spot where Jalen Carter will try. When Jalen Carter had himself a game, I think this is where the pass rush has to come into effect. With Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter having such a performance, I mean, after Davis got his first sack and Carter had 4 tackles, 2 passes deflected, 3 QB hits. I don't know the numbers, but Jalen Carter was like a freaking menace. Those two have to attack, and I would even mix it up and put in Moro Ojomo, or even Thomas Booker, and of course Brandon Graham. He's been having a really damn good year, a good pressure as an edge rusher. So maybe you attack from that edge. Maybe you put in Brandon Graham as outside, and this could also be a game for Joshua and Bryce Huff. I don't know, man. He needs to show up one way or another. And I think I do have trust in the interior, because with Cody, I mean, if you look at Cody Mock, Jalen Carter he had 4 pressures, 2 batted passes per Pro Football Focus, and I think with that, if he lines up in that B gap, Mock is not going to have enough help. I think this is the weak spot, and they have to get the pressure consistently. And plus, with Baker Mayfield's ability to move around the ball, because I'll see him do that shit at Texas Tech, at OU, and now here in the NFL, I think maybe this could be a down play for Nakobe Dean or even Devin White. And now, okay, and I need your help on this, Anand. So for my secondary battles, if I'm looking at if it's basically a pick your poison between Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. The biggest threat has to be Mike Evans. So I would put Quinyon Mitchell and bracket him with CJ Gardner-Johnson. Maybe you bring in that nickel dime look. I don't know about playing cover 2 I know Mel Kiper wants it banned. I don't know what the hell the idiot is thinking. You just need a proper defensive head coach for that. So I think I'm thinking CJ Gardner-Johnson and Quinyon Mitchell, they have to double team Mike Evans. Chris Godwin, I would put Darius Slay on him, and Darius Slay or even Isaiah Rodgers. With Rodgers coming back, it's something that the Eagles have finally, cornerback depth.
Mm-hmm.
They have the depth, and maybe you put in Keely Ringo in as nickel, and also with Britton Covey being out, I think you could be seeing a lot more snaps from Cooper DeJean. So Cooper DeJean could come in, play in such a nickel coverage spot, or he could act as that third safety and then have him come in as a pseudo linebacker, play in a box formation. That's what I'm thinking. But first of all, you have to stop the run. Bucky Irving is a good threat, and if Eagles want to go 5-man front, I would say that they have to include Devin White in this game. But then again, Vic Fangio, he says he's going to put the players in that have given him the best results so far. And what that formation that we've been seeing, what we saw against the Saints, it damn well worked.
Mhm.
So you don't need to change anything. And now the biggest concern is going to be the Eagles' offense against the Bucks' defense. And the Eagles are going to be most likely they're going to be without AJ Brown. They're going to be without Devontae Smith because Devontae Smith getting that concussion by those dirty ass Saints. Bunch of bitches, by the way. I honestly think Todd Bowles, he's gonna be like, oh, there's a familiar face, and I found this out. I was like listening to the Eagles Pulpit Network today. 4 times that Jalen Hurts has faced Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles has brought the blitz 91 times out of 138 dropbacks, 65.9%. So Jalen Hurts, you're gonna expect the blitz. Now, you don't have the receivers. You don't have AJ Brown. You don't have Devontae Smith. And Britton Covey, who actually did okay, but he's out with a broken bone. So he's going to be on IR for like 6 to 8 weeks. So with that, you're relying on Jahan Dotson, Paris Campbell, Johnny Wilson, but Dallas Goedert had himself a game. I think this should be a Dallas Goedert game. Because
I think this is going to be a Saquon Barkley receiving game because Kellen Moore should really scheme up scenarios, especially against the blitz, where Saquon Barkley gets, choice routes or Texas routes or easy throws for Jalen Hurts to just dump off and get rid of the ball.
Check downs. Take the check downs, and of course, right? And again, like back to the as I go back into the injury chart, Levante David, he's been shaky at the moment, and they have a young stud in Servokea Dennis. He's a young linebacker. He's being paired up. He's splitting time with KJ Britt. Dennis had more effective last game. I think so far he's had a tackle for a loss, a sack, and a QB hit. And I think Dennis has missed 15% of his tackles this season. So if Saquon Barkley gets loose and he's able to break off those tackles, because the Bucks defense, they have a swarm-like mentality. They know how to tackle. You just can't afford. If they miss one against Saquon, he's off. He's off of the races. And plus, with the rain and the hurricane Helene already being a category 3 or 4, to those in Florida right now, thoughts and prayers. Please stay safe, stay indoors, seek shelter when needed.
Please don't become Florida man.
Just don't. With all due seriousness. But I honestly think the reason why there's a run game is also very important because right now Vita Vea, the Bucks star. If you don't know who Vita Vea is, watch that guy on YouTube because he is a menace. And apparently he missed the last week after suffering a grade 2 MLC sprain against the Lions. So he is preparing to play in week 4, but I don't know how effective he is.
So what you were talking about in terms of the running game versus this Bucks defense, injured Bucks defense?
Yeah.
Bo Nix had 9 rushing attempts for 47 yards, 1 touchdown.
This could be
one rushing touchdown. So this could be a Jalen Hurts 100-yard rushing game.
Okay.
If they can scheme it up.
They have to scheme this up properly. And also, and besides, I think we'll probably have news that 2 big weapons of the Bucks is going to be out. You want to know who? Antoine Winfield Jr. and Kalijah Cansey. Those guys
exactly
are going to be
why Jalen Hurts needs to run the football.
You got to run the ball. And if you looked at that game, when they had to pair Jamel Dean and Zion McCollum, they were beat early at the get-go, but then again, they were facing off against Cortland Sutton, and I don't know who the other receiver is, but yeah. I think you have to continue with the run game. Maybe bring in Will Shipley a little bit because he has that speed option. And Jahan Dotson, just get to it. And again, don't turn over the ball, Jalen Hurts. Eagles will win this game 20-13. It's going to be a very close game.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Alrighty. Now let's move on to our Masala games of the week.
Who
All
you
right,
got?
who I got. Surprisingly, the Bengals versus the Panthers.
No, correction.
The Bungles versus the Panthers. There we go. Rakshak has got it correct because
We have to.
this,
They will not get the Bengals moniker back until they fix themselves.
yeah, until they beat the Ravens or some other team that is
No,
actually.
they have to go on a streak. You have to go
Yeah.
on a 5-game winning streak, otherwise you're still the Bungles.
Because right now they're 0-3, and only one team that has started 0-3 has gone to the playoffs since 2000.
Crap, I don't know.
That's it. So the Bengals have to fix this.
Yeah, they have to.
I don't know if they do. Because Andy Dalton, for the win, lowest negative play rate.
Red rifle.
Andy Dalton of the Panthers, lowest negative play rate combined with the second highest explosive play rate this past week. And now he's facing a Bengals defense that is atrocious all across the field. Third highest. Huh?
Le garbage.
Le garbage. Literally third highest EPA per play allowed. 26th in adjusted line yards. 24th in overall DVOA. And besides Trey Hendrickson, who has the highest who faces the most double teams in the entire league in terms of edge rushers, he's tied with Aiden Hutchinson for the second most pass rusher win rate. Second highest pass rusher win rate. He's far and away the guy who faces the most double teams, and he's still the second highest pass rush win rate. But besides him, they have absolutely nobody. They're 23rd in adjusted sack rate, which means they can't get to the quarterback unless it's Trey Hendrickson. This and the Panthers, for some reason, have a fantastic, or not a fantastic, but a really, really good offensive line. If we take a look at some of their metrics, in terms of their offensive line metrics, you look at pass protection.
Yep.
From PFF grade, they're the 5th best PFF ranked offensive line in terms of pass protection. Then you look at pass block win rate. They're also up there in terms of ESPN's rankings. You look at overall rankings, true pass set grade, they're the second in terms of the best the best grade, the best offensive line in terms of pass sets, right? Not like play action, but actual dropbacks. So it's just an indication as to the fact that Bryce Young was the issue. Bryce Young was clearly the issue here. And Andy Dalton proved that when you look at his performance last week. It was spectacular. Honestly, we need Andy Dalton, and I credit to the boys at the Grassi Perna show that I was listening to in the morning, Tom Grassi and Brandon Perna. They were basically saying that Andy Dalton should be the metric test for bad teams. If Andy Dalton can do well for one game in your team, then the problem is your quarterback and your coach. It should be an easy litmus test. You give him to the Chargers, if or not the Chargers, the Jaguars, and if the Jaguars do well, fire Trevor Lawrence into the sun.
Oh my God.
He should be the litmus test for the entire league. If you're a bad team, because he's that good.
God help that draft class.
But yeah, I think the Panthers are going to. They scored 36 points against the Raiders. The Raiders defense, which has some of the best pass rush in the league.
I'll be a Max Crosby, man.
It's unbelievable what Andy Dalton was able to do with the same offense, same skill set, same receivers, same everything. So for the Bengals to win this, it's going to be a shootout.
Oh my!
This
God.
offense has to keep up with the Panthers' offense, and it's possible. The Bengals are good. The Bengals' offense is good. They're 4th in EPA per play, which means they're very explosive. 11th in EPA per pass, but 2nd in EPA per rush, which means they need to focus on the run game. And lucky for them, the Panthers defense lost their best run stopper in Derek Brown for the year. So this advantage has to be taken. They
Right.
have to rely on the run game and force the Panthers in a pass situation so that Trey Hendrickson can do his damage and hopefully limit the powers of the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring game because if the Panthers start out with the lead, the Bengals are just going to go in like pass set mode and just go boom, 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 boom against this Panthers defense. So I think the Panthers win 33-27.
Ooh, that's a good score. All right. Now, my game, Bills versus Ravens. Ravens, you got your win after almost choking it off against the Cowboys. That is number one. But now you're facing a Bills team that is playing one of their best footballs this year. Josh Allen has yet to commit a turnover, man. That is how good it is. And let's do it this way. Bills defense versus Ravens offense. If I'm the Bills, you need to figure out how to contain Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. I mean, because the Ravens have ran 53% of the time, 7th best, and averaging an NFL best 5.9 yards per attempt. Lamar Jackson, he's had 245 rushing yards and 7.3 yards per attempt by a large margin. He only has 1 rushing touchdown, however. Derrick Henry is getting the goal line duties. So this is they're going up against a Bills defense that has allowed just 5.06 yards per attempt and 3 passing touchdowns this season. And Jackson has completed just like 65.6% of his passes, which is 21st among the starters. So if I'm the Bills, like right now, Sean McDermott, no big hoorah speeches about being motivational. That's all I have to say. It's not a dig, it's just a fact. Don't do shit like that. But then again, their middle linebacker, Terrell Bernard, is going to be out for the season. Torn pectoral. So I believe Balin Spector is going to take over. But hey, we see a familiar face in Nicholas Morrow and Dorian Williams. So I mean, not that I'm too worried about it. But anyway, I think like with this Bills pass rush, they have the ability to get to the quarterback with like Greg Russo, Ed Oliver, AJ Epineza, and Dorian Williams. But I think the middle linebacker, it's where it's going to be, where it's going to be interesting because they could just unleash. They can try and unleash Derrick Henry through the middle, and their weapons like in Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, they're complementary. But if Lamar Jackson's on the move and he makes time and space, that's when this Ravens offense gets clicking because there have to be a heavy run first. But Todd Monken has to remember there's 4 quarters in a game, not 3. Bills offense versus Ravens defense. Again, big credit to Joe Brady for incorporating the run a lot more. The Bills have ran the ball 54% of the time, which is 5th most in the NFL. Ravens defense, so far, they've allowed the fewest rushing yards, 117 rushing yards through the first 3 games, but they've allowed the 5th most receiving yards by opposing runners, 137. So I think this could be the time in which Josh Allen could use a lot more James Cook on the inside or the outsides. I mean, the Ravens secondary has been pretty bad lately. I mean, Brandon Stevens, Marlon Humphreys, Kyle Hamilton, and Nate Wiggins, all of them were hyped up to be like one of the best pass-heavy defenses. But so far, it's not looking as it is. Don't you agree on them? I mean, I just don't see it.
Yeah, me neither.
And if you want to talk about Josh Allen, according to ESPN, he has a QBR of 92.6. According to ESPN, 9 total touchdowns, which leads the NFL, 7 passing touchdowns, 133.7 passer rating, averaging 5 rush yards per attempt and 18 attempts. So again, no Stephon Diggs, No Gabe Davis? No problem. Yeah, problem. I mean, they're doing so well with Keon Coleman. We called them out on that Keon Coleman pick and not picking Xavier Worthy. But you know what? I'm eating crow. I thought they've been doing a pretty damn good job using more with Khalil Shakir, Matt Collins, Dalton Kincaid, and Dawson Knox. You go with more of those tight end options. I mean, you're attacking Roquan Smith all day because I don't know what kind of defense that I'm seeing from them. And yes, they may have added Yannick Ngakoue, but are you sure that's really going to help at the moment? Because right now this Bills offense is not clicking. I'm sorry. I'm going to make this quick. I got the Bills winning like 35-27. Ravens will make it a contest, but it's that Bills defense at the end. They'll just, I mean, Josh Allen will not commit a turnover at the moment.
Yep. All right. So that's going to be it for us today. If you guys have enjoyed, please leave us a review at one of the 4 podcast platforms that we host this podcast on: Apple, Google, Spotify, and Pocket Casts. Or, Rakshak, what can they do?
They can also find us on Instagram /Twitter/X at our handle at NFL Masala 2022. That's all lowercase at NFL Masala 2022. And we're also on YouTube. Season 3 is on YouTube.
Yes, sir. Season 3 is on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And if you guys have any sort of concerns, you can email us at nflmasala@gmail.com, spelled as nflmasala@gmail.com. And we're going to hit you with our signature outro. Go, Pack, go.
And fly, Eagles, flight. Take care and have a good night.